Monica. Oh, hey, Monica. Guess what? I'm starting a small business. Oh my gosh, no way. Yeah, I'm gonna hand make candles just like you. Stop. Hand making candles is the best. It's so therapeutic. Yeah, but wait, I'm not just gonna do candles. I'm gonna learn how to sew real quick and then make pouches and scrunchies. Oh, awesome. I don't know if you know, but those are actually the same 3 product categories that Wait, I'm not done yet. Oh, sorry for interrupting. Circling back to the candles, I also think I'm going to use the same wax and candle vessels and wicks as you. Oh, I 100% recommend the candle vessel supplier that I use. They're literally the best. And I'm going to be using your candle labels. You mean like taking inspiration from my candle labels? Because I designed mine from scratch, like on Adobe Illustrator. Yeah, well, you never posted like a PNG file of your exact design, so I just recreated it using the exact colors, the exact size, the exact fonts, and style and shape. Plus, since I'm using the exact same jar, wick, and wax, they'll look identical to yours. Let's talk about the pouches. Like, what are you thinking for those? Yes, oh my gosh. They're gonna be pink gingham with a white zipper measuring 8 inches by 6 inches by 4 inches with a waterproof lining, and my brand name on a muslin tag sewn in approximately 2.5 inches down from the center of the zipper, perfect for holding makeup, craft supplies, etc. Are you verbatim reading a product description from my website? I'm also signing up for the exact same markets as you in the New York City area. Stop it, markets are my bread and butter. I would love to help you. I'm going to get all the same displays that you use, place them in the exact same spots around the booth as yours. My banner will look identical, my products will look identical. I'm even going to angle the A-frame display like 37 degrees like you do. I'm going to study the pictures and the videos and all the content that you take at markets and basically take the exact same stuff. And I'm obviously not going to give you any credit for the ideas or the inspiration because it's not like you own the rights to any of this stuff anyway. And when you inevitably come up to me and confront me about the similarities of our brand, I'll just deny everything and say that you copied me and I came up with everything first since I have a much larger following than you, which makes me seem a whole lot more legit. I'll also block you so you don't have any proof that I'm doing this going forward, you know what I mean? And then I'll publicly paint you as the bad guy. So with all of that being said, what are you gonna do about it? What am I going to do about it? I would like to take this moment to mention that I do not condone bullying, cyberbullying, or any online hate of any kind. This video is meant to provide support for artists and business owners who have experienced or will experience getting copied. This video is also intended to be an entertaining narration of the concept of copycats. Thank you to those of you who have personally helped me through the mental health struggles that come with having my creations taken from me. I hope that this video in particular spreads positivity and amplifies creative artists and business owners because originality always wins in the end. Nothing is original. Steal from anywhere that resonates with inspiration or fuels your imagination. Devour old films, new films, music, books, paintings, photographs, poems, dreams, random conversations, architecture, bridges, street signs, trees, clouds, bodies of water, light, and shadows. Select only things to steal from that speak directly to your soul. If you do this, your work and theft will be authentic. Authenticity is invaluable. Originality is non-existent. And don't bother concealing your thievery. Celebrate it if you feel like it. In any case, always remember what Jean-Luc Godard said, it's not where you take things from, it's where you take them to. That quote from Jim Jarmusch may seem insensitive and a slap to the face for us artists, but I think it's a really good reminder of this. Artists, entrepreneurs, children, everyone really, take the unique combination and permutation of their life's experiences, the people they've known, the places they've seen, the rumors they've heard, the nature they have, the emotions they feel, and more recently, the social media posts they save. They take that jumbled set of pre-existing things, they mix it all up in a bowl, and they turn it into something else. This is the closest we can get to original creativity. We copy what exists, but we don't stop there. We make it better, stronger, cuter, faster, slower, more green, more girly, less boring, sprinkle it with a whole ton of personality and humanity, and make it more us. The pieces in this museum are time capsules of everything the artists were feeling, doing, learning, and experiencing firsthand in their own lives, sprinkled with inspiration from their nature and nurture. There's a story behind every piece. So when someone directly copies or steals an idea, they erase the story and instead replace it with emptiness. Someone copied my entire small business. Someone else replicated a specific best-selling product from my small business. And because my business and art are a reflection of me and what I've been through, I feel like something really precious was taken away from me. Do I have the right to feel this way? Does sharing my creative process on the internet give others the right to mimic my exact work? Is all fair in love and war and business and art? The answer to all these questions is, I don't know, but let's talk about it. So as I said, my entire small business was copied. But let's not just throw words around like that. Let's set some definitions, because we all have our own definitions of things like copying, inspiration, originality, rightfully so. But for the sake of this conversation, let's set some definitions. Copying, as defined by the Cambridge Dictionary, is to intentionally make or do something that is the same as an original piece of work. Copying is not inherently bad or harmful. Think about the last time you copied a Pinterest recipe, or the last time a younger sibling copied everything about the older sibling's outfit. Copying and imitation, for that matter, is actually essential for education and for learning and for advancing. Consider if Alexander Graham Bell, who came up with the entire invention of the telephone, he was the only person allowed to create anything of that sort. We would have never innovated past that original telephone, and the smartphone would have never been invented. Being able to reimagine and recreate past an original invention is critical and so productive in society, but we actually have another word for that, and the word we use is inspiration. Inspiration is defined as the process of being mentally stimulated to do or feel something, especially to do something creative. Inspiration is the feeling we all strive for as creatives. It's euphoric. It's unlike anything in this world, and it's often the reason why we don't give up and we keep going with our small business owner dreams, our artist dreams, whatever it might be. Inspiration is beautiful, euphoric, natural, while copying, on the other hand, in the words of Mobile Charm Bar over on Instagram, says copying feels malicious. There's just something off about it. There's something dirty. There's something hidden. It's really just the antithesis of creativity. And in the words of my friend who runs Tailology and also another brand now, one has to figure out what is copying and what is inspiration, because it is subjective. For the sake of our argument today, we're going to focus on obvious malicious copycats. And here's how we define them. We are going to define an obvious malicious copycat as someone who A, takes way too much inspiration, aka most or all inspiration, from one single source. B, someone who fails to innovate past the original source. C, they claim the idea is purely their own. And D, they gain something in the process. Now listen, I'm not making this video to convince anyone that I was copied or to get sympathy points or pity points. I do have CIA level evidence that I was copied. However, I don't think there's too much a point in showing all of that. Whether in your opinion I was copied or not, what's done is done. And I want to focus on what we can do next, moving forward, now that I've been exposed to the world of copycats. Okay, what's going to be really embarrassing about this clip right now is that I don't know if there's anyone inside this building looking out the windows and they can see me, but I'm just gonna pace here and tell you a little bit about my copycat stories, because I feel like I need the space to breathe while I talk about this. For context, I've recorded this video 6 or 7 times and I decided not to post any of them because I didn't think they did this whole concept justice. I did one video that was like a full expose of my 2 copycats that I want to focus this video on. That didn't feel right. That didn't feel like my style. So then I did another video that was like fully centered around just like copying in general and didn't mention any of my personal experiences with copying. That also didn't feel right. But like I was hiding something. I also can't see that far, so I don't know if I'm in the frame. Okay, you would think that I'm an amateur YouTuber. I've been doing this for 6 years. I still can't get myself in the frame. Anyway, I had my first experience with copycat number 1 about 12 months ago in the March or April 2025 timeframe. I gaslit myself into saying that no, I'm not being copied. I'm just crazy. It took a lot of DMs from you guys, specifically my YouTube viewers and my Instagram followers, to finally convince me that I was being copied. How did I deal with it, you ask? I quit my business. I literally mentally quit my business. I have a journal entry that maybe I'll insert like a sentence or 2 here, where it literally says I quit because it's not worth it, because what's the point in creating art when someone's just gonna steal it. Obviously, I got over that because we are a year later. I just checked and I think I'm still in the frame. There are a bunch of college students just like staring at me. Okay, I hope I look cool, not crazy right now. We got over that, and I'm gonna talk about how I did that and why I decided to come back. And then my second copycat, I actually just found very recently as I was scrolling through TikTok, just like on my normal For You page, and the small business owner and her entire business came up on my feed, and I did a double take because it looked like someone was doing some sort of like UGC video with my candle from my online shop. It was not my candle, it was her candle, but it was basically my candle. That very much took me by surprise. The way I dealt with that was I laughed it off. Now, I did a whole bunch of other things in between over the past year or so, including looking into legal defenses, trademarks, and cease and desist, lawsuits. Unfortunately, I looked into confrontation, actually talking to someone about it. I looked into airing them out on social media and causing some drama here and there. I looked into all those things. I effectively didn't go through with most of them fully because I found some sort of issue with all of those tactics, and we'll talk about that. Sorry, jump scare. I got a little close because I have something really important to say, which is I think I found the absolute perfect way to handle copycats, and this is what I'm going to do from now on, and what I think other small business owners and artists should do if you're experiencing this for the first time, second time, third time, millionth time, because inevitably this will happen in this entire industry to you at some point in time, because if your stuff's good, people want to take it. It's time for some revenge. Yeah, I'm doing a little bit of revenge on my copycat. I'm gonna copy my copycat back. Okay, hear me out. 2 minutes. Let me have this for 2 minutes, okay? We're not going to actually take any sort of action on just any copycat. That is a whole lot of time and energy and brain power that we don't want to dedicate to just like some copycats. We have a business to run still. We do. What I would like you and everyone else in this situation to avoid is what I did when I experienced my first really quote unquote traumatic copycat experience, which was I sat around and moped for a full year, and I was unproductive for basically a full year. The opposite of sitting around and moping is taking action. The only action that actually sounds motivating in the beginning, especially when you're feeling all the feelings of someone taking something from you, is revenge. But we're going to do some ethical, creative, and authentic copycatting. Here's what we're going to do. If a copycat is really bothering you, it's probably for one of a few reasons. One, they have a bigger following than you. I'm talking about Kissing Cowboys and how Brandy Melville literally took their logo and put it on a crop top and sold it, and didn't give Kissing Cowboys any sort of recognition. I'm talking about my friend Bennett from Loose Ends, who said a bigger creator took his sewing pattern, which you have to pay for, obviously, and they started handing out that sewing pattern for free, also claiming that they made the sewing pattern, and they had a bigger following than Loose Ends, at least at the time. Bennett's growing really big, and I'm so proud. I'm talking about Sun Milk Shop from TikTok, who had Sam's Club take her embroidery designs. I actually own one of her sweatshirts that says New Jersey, has a New Jersey flower on it. It's beautiful. But Sam's Club just straight up ripped her off. Not Marlene Vega getting ripped off by Creative Fabrica. Edgy Katrina getting ripped off by some print-on-demand service via Etsy. And then unfortunately me with my copycat, where I guess thankfully or unthankfully, I wasn't ripped off by a huge brand like a Fortune 500 or anything, but I was ripped off by a creator who has a significantly bigger following than me on every single platform except for one, I think. Those are the copycats that bother us. The second type of copycats that really bother us are the ones that we know personally, like when our best friend goes and copies something from us. This has happened to a few of the people who DM'd me on Instagram about copycat situations, but have asked not to be named, so I will not name them, but I see you. It's a huge violation of trust. And, when someone in your own life actually goes and tries to befriend you, or just already is your friend or family member, and they are so blind to what your friendship is and what your art means to you, it's just a whole different stab in the heart. This is unfortunately also what is happening with me and my copycat. I did know my copycat personally. And then the third type of copycat that really bothers us are copycats that make us as the original artists feel like the villain. This can happen in a lot of different ways. The first is when they claim that the art that they stole is their original art. That's insinuating that the art that we have is basically a copy of their art, which is a really dangerous thing to say. They often turn the original artist into a villain by claiming that the original artist is too sensitive or doesn't understand the concept of, a candle or a pouch or a scrunchie doesn't belong to them and they think they own everything. They will often block you from all the platforms, and so That's also what's happened with me and my copycat. But these are the sorts of copycats that we want to take some sort of action off of because it actually irks us to our core. There are other types of copycats out there, and I'm sure I've had many other handfuls of copycat situations that honestly, I just shrug off because I only have so many hours in the day and so many worries to worry about. So I like to focus on the worst of them. So with those really bothersome copycats, here's how I enact a little bit of ethical revenge. First, I write down a list of the things that really bother me about this situation. I had a whole list of, I think it was like 16 different things that really bothered me specifically about this one copycat situation. And oftentimes there's a way to take that thing that bothers you and to kind of like twist it so that it doesn't bother you anymore. The one thing that really truly bothers me about my one copycat is that they're really, really good at building an audience. They're really consistent on social media. Like if there was a social media consistency award, like they would get it. Like I applaud them, unfortunately. That bothers me, you know? Why couldn't you be less consistent and not as good of a social media person? Because then you wouldn't have as many followers and have as much engagement. And then I probably wouldn't be that bothered by you. I would probably just shrug you off. But what I can do about that is I can get super consistent and good at social media too. So the other day I sat down and I just drafted out a full 3 months of content that I can post every single day without missing a day on my brand, Instagram and TikTok. Regardless of how many followers I get from that or engagement I get from that, at least I can't say that my copycat is more consistent than me because I'm just as consistent, if not even more consistent. Another thing that really bothered me about this specific copycat was that because of their actions, I moped for a full year. I let the situation get out of control in my own head, and I let it be a situation that happened to me instead of something that I can take and make work for me. But then I realized that's not something like my copycat did. That's something I let myself do to myself. I let myself spiral and get into that headspace. So what I'm gonna do is copy my copycat. My copycat was so unfazed, at least externally to the social media internet world, about this whole situation. What's going on internally with this person, I don't know. But I'm like, I'm gonna copy that stoic mindset and I'm gonna capitalize off the situation. So I did put together this video, obviously, where I'm literally capitalizing off of the fact that this terrible thing happened to me because I'm putting out this video, hopefully gonna get some views out of it, hopefully going to teach someone something from it, inspire someone from it. I'm gonna also take this long form piece of content, turn it into a reel and a TikTok and get it out on there. And hopefully that'll lead to more customer loyalty on my end, more understanding as to what happened to my brand over the past year when it comes to like my customers and their perception of what my productivity has been like over the past year. And also going back to Kissing Cowboys on TikTok and how Brandy Melville took all of her stuff, she grew a whole ton. Her community grew so much. I found her through the fact that she posted a TikTok about being copied. If someone's gonna do you wrong, you best capitalize off of that thing that they did to you. I kind of joke when I talk about this, but I take nonsensical joking pseudo revenge over sitting, moping, and quitting. And the third thing that I'll focus on that really bothered me about my copycat situation was that I literally knew that my copycat was getting so many sales off stuff that she physically made, but I mentally created. Does that make sense? It's kind of an interesting situation, right? Because if someone takes this candle that, oh my gosh, it's so freaking good. If someone takes this candle, reverse Google searches it, you will find every single supplier that I use to create this product. You will find it. And then my copycat will order from those suppliers, put in the hard work, literally put in the labor, the physical labor to make a dozen or 2 dozen of those candles and sell every single one of them. They did put time and energy and effort, blood, sweat, and tears potentially into creating those products physically, but mentally close to zero work has been done. So I can see how a copycat would justify that they hand me the product and it's an original. But what frustrates me about this situation in particular is that I don't think I'll ever be able to convince someone of this. You either get it or you don't. The creative work that goes into concepting out a product and designing a product all up in here before it makes it out into the real world is so just not valued in the way that I think it needs to be. And that's what bothers me about the situation, that they will never get it. However, that made me realize, wait, we just have different priorities. And my copycat is really good at achieving and dedicating resources to their priorities. My copycat's priorities include clout, a high quantity of sales, and the perception of success. My general priorities, not just mine, but also my brand's, fostering a genuine and authentic community of creative homebodies, building a brand that will last way past my time here, and creating art. I did not realize that that third thing was a priority of mine until I was so bothered by someone not doing that and still gaining the rewards, I guess, of what I thought creativity should provide you. But honestly, that's a-okay. Everyone can live their lives however they want to, and so my copycat's really good at prioritizing their priorities. They've got it down. I myself have just been reminded by my copycats that my priorities like really do matter, and I need to refocus on them, because I think I can go so far and do so much and achieve such great things and also feel so good if I were to recenter my focus on what truly matters to me and my brand. And that's how I got started with working on a self-love collection that I put out just a couple months ago. I just put out a spring collection that is kind of my pride and joy. I think it's like some of the most beautiful candle labels that I've made. Actively working on a summer collection that I think is going to be so freaking cute and beautiful. Oh my gosh. I feel so creatively motivated and inspired. And I don't think I would have felt that way if I didn't copy my copycat's mindset of really sticking to your personal priorities and making them come true. Now, obviously, I'm messing around a little bit. Revenge is typically not the answer, and it's very like off-brand for me, but it is the exact opposite and the little push that I needed to think about this whole situation in terms of I can make the most out of this opportunity instead of this is some really terrible thing that happened to me, and so I'm just going to be sad and scared and frustrated about it because that's all I can do. I'm kind of taking back some of the power that I feel like was taken away from me by a few people online. That being said, let's talk about some of the actual tactics that you can take that a lot of other small business owners gave me these ideas, and I'll try to shout them out. These are not preventative tactics. There's actually no way to prevent a copycat. There's only ways to kind of deal with the aftermath of it. A copycat is gonna copycat. They're gonna do it. If they want to do it, they're gonna do it. Anyway, let's talk about legal stuff. Trademarks, copyrights, lawsuits, cease and desists. Trademarks can be placed on words or phrases or designs that you use as a business owner, and you therefore own the rights to using that sort of design or logo or whatever it is. It doesn't necessarily stop someone from straight up just using your logo, even though the logo belongs to you, but it does give you the right to take legal action against someone who does go and steal your logo for whatever reason. The issue with trademarks is that it takes forever and a day in order to get them approved, get them paid for, get them created. You're already involving a lawyer at this point, so you got some money involved there. You're also supposed to get one trademark per design or per phrase. And so if I have, let's say 20 different candle labels, which I should probably know that number. Anyway, if I wanted to really protect every single one of my candle labels, that's a whole lot of money, a whole lot of time, a whole lot of just taking away from what I feel like I should and want to be doing as a business owner. But more importantly, the second I go and change anything about the label ever so slightly, the trademark kind of no longer applies to that new design. And so if I'm gonna go and trademark my like best-selling candle label, I have to hope that that's the label I'm gonna stick with for hopefully forever, because if I change it up in any sort of way, we're kind of back to the drawing board when it comes to legal protection. However, this is definitely a really, really good option, especially for things like logos and things like creative mottos that you have for your brand. Now, once you get that trademark in the mail, it might feel good, but at the same time, the next day you can see like 20 new people on Instagram copying your logo, and then you have to go and handle that. You can send out what's called a cease and desist. Again, you kind of have to work with the legal team here, and that's basically when a really scary letter shows up in the mail at the copycat's house and tells them to quit it, stop it, shame on you, don't do that anymore. Depending on what the copycat decides to do, if your copycat's a big company, they may just ignore it because they have the power to. If your copycat is just an individual small business owner, they may be scared just from seeing the letter and just like absolutely stop, which is great. But it is a process. It's not just like, oh, I got the trademark and now I'm in the clear. I'm probably not the best person to ask about these couple of topics. I just did a bunch of research on my own end to see what my options were. I am now in the process of getting a few trademarks in place. It is taking forever and a day, like I said. But I think even me just saying like, I am protected by a trademark scares away enough people where maybe I'll have less situations of copying of those things that I'm going to trademark. The next tactic is calling out your copycat, specifically on social media, airing out the situation. This method works amazingly when it comes to small businesses calling out bigger brands. All of the examples that I gave you a little earlier in the video, get your community mad for you. It's easy to be mad at Target for copying someone's designs. It's easy to be mad at Sam's Club, going back to Sun Milk Shop's design, how Sam's Club stole her designs. It's easy to be mad at really anonymous sellers on Etsy who just take your stuff. And it's also really effective to call them out on your own social media so people are aware that you are being copied and that you are claiming these designs as your own. And what really helps with this is if you have proof that these designs are your own and someone else is taking them. So this is a whole other tangent that I can go on, but make sure you film and record and write down and timestamp everything during your creation process, because that will help you in the long run. Where social media airing out drama doesn't work is in situations like mine. Oh gosh. Let's talk about copycat B. For me, this is someone who has less followers than me, less engagement than me. They are an individual solopreneur for their small business. And I suspect, based on the interactions that I've had with the small business, that they actually really do look up to me and I am a role model to them. And I do inspire them in a lot of different ways. It's harder to vilify someone who isn't even really harming you because they're not doing as well as you in the ways that actually matter business-wise. Also, if I call out this person, I would probably need to call out 20 or 30 other people who have maybe taken a little bit too much inspiration from my shop. Also, do I even have the right to call people out? Because I do share my entire small business. I don't own the rights to making a candle, I don't own the rights to making a pouch, and I don't own the rights to making a scrunchie. They're all fair game. I think it's easy for social media public confrontation to kind of backfire and just cause more trouble than what it's worth. Blush Designs Co. Mia, who's doing amazing at her rebrand, by the way, go check her out. She said, at the end of the day, people are going to copy you, and it truly says more about them than it does you, and sometimes it's not worth stirring the pot, and you can get some really nasty responses back, even if you are only approaching it with kindness from the get-go. Nobody cares about your intentions, TLDR. Like, nobody cares. What matters is how people interpret what's going on. And so we have to be really careful about treading a fine line between defending ourselves and coming across as bitter, accusatory, mean people. Although obviously we're not, but it could come across that way. And then the last practical option of something you can do in response to a copycat is IRL confrontation. This can work in situations where you know the person, you've seen the person a lot, like perhaps they're a local maker and they show up to every single one of the markets that you show up at, and they're like always your neighbor somehow. Maybe your mutuals on social media, whatever it may be. You know, in an ideal world, this would be like the most valid, workable solution to this entire situation. Like, it was just a miscommunication. They thought they were being inspired by you, but really they were copying. Or maybe they knew they were copying and you calling them out actually got them to be like, oh shoot, someone caught me, let me stop. But when was the last time you confronted someone in person and they handled the information well? Whether the information is true or not. People who get accused of things, even if they committed the crime, do not take that well. So with this tactic, I did try this with one of my copycats, and I am now blocked on every single platform to ever exist. I was friends with them. I tried to continue to be friends with them, but I was blocked again. Sorry, the sun just disappeared right now. I am about to say something really sad, so I guess that's appropriate. You know, even though I confronted them, and I guess technically it kind of worked because I don't think they copy me as much or at the same level as they used to, but it didn't make me feel better. And that's kind of the gist about all of these practical tactics you can take in the aftermath of experiencing a copycat. None of them truly make you, the original artist, feel better. And that's why starting off with the ethical revenge of you working on yourself, working on your business, finding success in meaningful, intentional, and ethical ways, using these bad situations as motivation is what I strongly feel like will be the best sort of like solution for you as an individual, because that will make you feel better. This is my bestseller. It's one of the most copied products that I offer on my shop. And for a while, I actually wasn't able to like look at it. I kept it out of stock for a long time so I wouldn't have to smell the scent. It just brought back like bad memories. I was almost like disgusted to look at it, being like, you were like the simplest design ever. Like, obviously someone will copy it. It's so easy. Like, and honestly, this one product isn't worth like the headache, so I'm just not even going to make it anymore. What's really hard about copycat situations is that we don't wish that we could get revenge, like how I mentioned in the first part of this video. We don't wish that the cease and desist actually gets them to stop and they don't copy us any further. I mean, obviously we wish that, but those two things don't really make us feel better. What we wish is that it never happened in the first place. And as we covered, there's no way to guarantee that. I was looking at my YouTube stats, my product sales stats on Shopify, even my TikTok stats, just like all the different like engagement related like things that have to do with my business. And everything has been in a steady decline. I'm being very honest with you right now. Everything has been in a very steady decline, especially product sales over the past year or so, starting around March or April of 2025. If you're an avid viewer on my YouTube channel, you might have noticed that most of my content is very different than what it was last year and the year before that and the year before that. You'll notice that I show up a lot less on my Monica's Collective page. A lot of it's strategic, but a good chunk of it that, you know, shouldn't even be there, but a good chunk of it is that I let my copycat get to me, my copycats. I don't want to talk about my business anymore. I don't want to feel hurt anymore. I don't want to be associated with art that was stolen. I don't want to get to know other small business owners because I'm scared that we'll become friends and then they'll take something from me. And it's been a year. It's been a year. At this point, I have no more excuses left. I'm done moping. I started listening to some actual realities. Like Carbon Studios on Instagram said, all these people copying you are because they want to be you. So I keep thinking of it like that. People that copy are too embarrassed to be themselves, too embarrassed to use their own creativity and originality that they feel the need to be someone else. Shop Chiquita Bonita, who makes beautiful polymer clay earrings over on Instagram, says, I think what makes you different is how well you brand what you do and your dedication. And Tati Hearts on Instagram says, I try to remind myself that someone copying means I must be running my business right. One crazy revelation that I've had in the past couple months is that as great as I think my products are, as much hard work as I put into this thing, a lot of the reason why people support small businesses, it's a harsh reality, but it's not because our products are amazing to them. It's because people want to support our story. People want to support the person behind the business. People want to support hard work and dedication and creativity. People want to support the message, the non-tangible, intangible things that a brand has to offer. And so I can look at this product and feel so bad and be brought back to a really bad time all I want. But what I can't fake and what I can't turn my head away from is everything I have built behind the scenes that people typically don't see, but I do show a lot of it on YouTube and through my content. Customers will always come back to me if I continue to show the dedication, the authenticity, and all the other value that my brand provides. A copycat cannot copy that. It can only copy the product. But a lot of our target audience is not someone who just wants a frivolous product. They want something more. They want you. They want your story. They want all that like mushy gushy, like lovey-dovey stuff, the hard work and the risks and the art that you put behind the actual item. And so although this isn't a true, oh, just do this and then no one will copy you, or just do this and copycats will go away, I do think this is a really good just mental exercise that we can do as small business owners, whether you've been copied or not, to consider that the greatest damage a copycat can do is what you let them do to you. I let my copycat damage me for a full year, and truly in like April, May of 2025, I let my copycat hold so much power over me that I almost quit my business. And now I say no more of that. In a situation that's unlike mine, where a big company like Zara or H&M copies like a fashion design that you created or something, you have to remember that the people who are going to Zara and H&M to purchase a piece of clothing are not your target audience. You're looking at an entirely different community of people who value hand craftsmanship, who value small businesses, who value sustainability more likely than not. And so I don't want to say that like it's okay that Zara and H&M rip you off, but let that be all that they can do. Don't let them affect your self-confidence. Don't let them affect your focus. Call them out. Use that as content. Take that as an opportunity and remind yourself, hey, if someone's copying me, this product must be freaking good. Let me market it even more and then sell even more pieces. You know, in my situation where it isn't like a huge retailer copying me and it's more of just people in my personal life or other small businesses, I've come to realize that being a copycat is one of the greatest forms of self-sabotage as a creative in this business. You know, it's exhausting running a business when you love it and you've actually created it. I can imagine how exhausting it is if you don't even love it and you didn't even build it and you're just doing it for clout and for sales. And I've kind of seen that with some of my copycats. I've seen them on social media share how they're burnt out and how they're low motivation and how they don't know what they want to do with their shop. And I'm like, well, it's because if your head isn't authentically and creatively in the game and your heart and mind and soul isn't in it, then it can only last so long. These are 3 scrunchies that I made recently and 3 brand new candles that I've also created recently. It feels so good to get back into creating and not feeling frustrated about it, I guess. You know, I guess the truth is that there's no real solution to this problem, especially as small makers with limited resources. But going forward, I think I'm ready. Let them steal from me and make a few dollars from it. Me and my little creative brand are here for the long run. And honestly, I love a challenge. Plus, this whole copycat thing really makes for some pretty fun content, don't you think? So, to my copycats, thank you, because I'm back and better than ever, and I'm ready for anything, so throw it at me. Throw it. Do it. I dare you. When it comes to copycats, I've adopted the words of Bennett, my friend from Loose Ends, who says, girl, buckle up, because I'm here for the ride.